All right. Hello and welcome to the Miracle Morning for Network Marketers audio series / podcast, depending on where you might be finding this information and this content at the moment. My name is Pat Petrini. I'm the co-author of the #1 best-selling book, The Miracle Morning for Network Marketers. And in creating this book, we reached out to some of the very top network marketers in the world, and we interviewed them, some of the top performers, both people that have been around the network marketing world for years and even decades, as well as people that are fairly newcomers that have just been around for the last few years, but have had extreme success in those just those last few years. And we reached out, we interviewed them. That's what this series is all about. You're going to hear interviews from a number of different people. And in these interviews, we dive into not only their tips, strategies, techniques, things that have really accelerated their business, but also, and of course this was sort of the thesis, the theme of the book is the Miracle Morning for Network Marketers. We delve into their morning routines and their daily rituals, things that they consider to be critical for success that are really important for them to do every single day. And what we found, the whole concept of the Miracle Morning is that not every successful person does all of these different things every day, but just about every successful person does some of these things every day, has some of these daily rituals, oftentimes morning rituals, and so we dive into that in this audio series. Now, if you're not familiar with the book, you can check out the book, of course, at Amazon. Just go to Amazon and search for The Miracle Morning for Network Marketers. You'll find it right there. And then, of course, you can also go to our website. You may be listening to this recording right there on our website, but if you're not, if you're finding it somewhere else, go to tmm4networkmarketers.com. That's TMM, like the Miracle Morning, FOR, networkmarketers.com. Again, my name is Pat Petrini. I hope you're going to enjoy this interview. I know you're going to enjoy this interview. You might want to have a pen and paper handy, and on with the show. Thanks a lot.
All right, well, welcome everybody to another one of our top performer 1%er interviews that we're doing here as part of the Miracle Morning for Network Marketing series. You might be finding this in podcast form or on our website, but of course this is content that is meant to give added value to those of you who are checking out the information we have online at our website, but also reading the book that we have recently put out, The Miracle Morning for Network Marketers. So check that out. But I'm really, really excited to have our guest on the line here today is none other than the one and only Mark Hoverson. Mark, are you there?
I am here, Pat, and I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, hey man, I appreciate it. So for everybody listening, it's a treat to be able to get in touch with Mark. He's a tough guy to pin down. I had to track Mark down for a while for us to get this interview. So I'm excited to be able to share this with everybody. I know we're gonna get some good stuff here. But Mark, for anybody who maybe is for the very rare bird that is hearing your name for the first time on this interview, can you give some people kind of some bullet points of maybe how you got started as an entrepreneur, kind of where your path kind of through the network marketing world. I know today you kind of find yourself in a lot of the affiliate marketing, online marketing space, but any kind of highlights of your journey that you can share with everybody?
Yeah, I think I was born on the eve of an Amway meeting that my dad was at. So my mom had to call 1978, and my mom called my dad, who was speaking at an Amway meeting, and I just found this out this year, so this is really funny. I didn't know this. I love it. My parents never made any money. They never signed anybody up, and Dad was asked to speak because he was the best speaker that the guy who brought him in knew, I guess, and Dad went up there and gave the pitch, never recruited anybody. So I was born in the womb of network marketing, I guess, but that was the start of that. I was 19 years old. I was crawling around in my parents' attic, just bored out in the country in North Dakota, and I found a hardback Zig Ziglar See You at the Top book, and it was the first time I was exposed to like personal development, and I was like the hungry 19-year-old self, like I got to go do something with my life kind of drive. And that book just lit me absolutely on fire for personal development, for potential, for possibility, for those kind of things. And Zig Ziglar that same year started Zig Ziglar's network, ZZN. and I was a founding member because I had read the book, and I saw it in an entrepreneur magazine, and I joined network marketing. I bought, thousands of dollars of leads, and I didn't sell any of them, of course, because I didn't know what I was doing. And then the internet came around the same time, like 1998 we're talking about, like back in dial-up days.
Right.
And I found Todd Falcone online, and he was a distributor for online leads. And I got this whole idea of autoresponders, and I wrote an autoresponder for the leads. And my very first person that ever bought network marketing from me was a millionaire out of Texas who lost his money in VHS, like recordings before Blockbuster came. He was in private gas stations, and he would just buy the videos and he was a very successful business guy. And he was my first one. He's like, yeah, I read your emails, and this is powerful stuff. And of course he signed up. I never talked to him ever again. And then, it just didn't, he just went he disappeared or whatever.
Right.
And I had like one or two teammates. Then I just really got into the online game, and, somehow, somewhere, made like a $10,000 month when I was 21 selling a high ticket travel product. Mm-hmm. Then I just fell off the network marketing scene for like 5 or 6 years. I was in ministry, like youth director and like youth pastor stuff. Mm-hmm. But I loved the business, and then I came back when I was about 27 and put ads in the USA Today that said, millionaire minds, what's the secret to making $1,000 in 15 minutes? My phone rang off the hook. I sold them a high ticket travel package. I made like $50,000 my first year back. And then the next year I figured out I got the 4-hour work week. I bought that book, and I made like $500,000 out of nowhere from my computer. And
I love it.
Then, from that point, then I began training and coaching and, with partners and stuff, done $1 million days, $1 million weeks. And, everything's changed. It's been a wild ride, but that's kind of a speed version, I guess.
Yeah. And just, so everybody, because I've heard you speak a number of times, Mark, and I've been to a few events and different things. And, of course, I think you're very, very humble when it comes to yourself, but there's not a lot of people, for everybody listening, there's not a lot of people that can call themselves an 8-figure earner in the network marketing space, and Mark is one of those people. So he's been very, very accomplished, for a long time now. So one of the things that, we're obviously talking about kind of main topic here, routines, the routines of the most successful people in different genres. That's the whole sort of thesis of the Miracle Morning, is how people's daily routines can really change their lives and have such a dramatic impact on them. And so I definitely want to get to that, to kind of pick your brain a little bit on that. But before we do that, I wanted to kind of just ask you a little bit specifically about network marketing. So I kind of shared this with you the last time when we were having dinner together a few months ago. I kind of felt like when I came up in network marketing, I was sponsored by kind of what you would call maybe an old school, warm market, not online guy, a guy that couldn't even send an email if he wanted to. And I was kind of like raised in network marketing in that space. And I felt like I was late to the party once I really started learning a lot of these kind of online marketing strategies. And there used to be kind of this whole like divide between the offline guys and the online guys. And now I think that's kind of going away, because it's all kind of merging, and everybody kind of recognizes the power of. It seems crazy today to even say there's a question of the power of the internet. But I guess my question to you is, if you were a brand new network marketer today, if you were just stepping into network marketing, you just somebody just did a presentation to you, you just watched a webinar or whatever, and you're seeing this whole the carrot of residual income and the idea of building a team and all this kind of stuff, what do you think would be some of the early steps that person should take? And I guess what I mean is, what are some of the most important skills for them to learn? Because I think that today it's a set of I would say, is a set of both online and offline skills. It's not just, learning how to do a napkin presentation in a coffee shop. Like, what do you think are the critical things that a brand new person should be really trying to figure out if they really want to, have a shot at, making a six-figure residual income in the next, couple of years or so?
Yeah, well, I think, to start off, there's 1,000 ways to do it. So there's guys that are starting right now that aren't ever going to touch online, and they're going to make six figures in their first year, period. They're just going to do it. They've got some connections, and those connections have some connections, and they've got incredible soft skills. So the most important thing, I think, in network marketing is soft skills. Soft skills are people skills, like caring and confidence and leadership and, wisdom. And these are all soft kind of personhood, personal presence stuff. So that's core. With that base, you can do anything in the world, or in the marketing world anyway. So I would say your soft skills, personal development of your personal presence and warmth and, that kind of, it's intangible, it's soft. If you go online, it's all hard skills. So now you got to translate your soft skills through the mechanics of the internet, and that's a skill. Those are hard skills. Putting together a sales funnel, doing your napkin presentation to a webinar of 1,000 people.
Right.
That's the only difference. The napkin is still the answer. It's just now on a little doodle sketch, but you get to talk to 1,000 people at a time. Or you get to talk to 5 people, but you record that video through hard skills. I think the biggest block that's a breakthrough stopper for men and women who are amazing. They would never rip anybody off. They've got great integrity. They're warm. They're kind. They're strong. They're there. They're allergic to the hard skill. They're just allergic to the idea of I'm going to install Bamboo Pen on this computer and write my napkin pitch on a computer, and that's going to get recorded, and so then they don't get the screencast to record the thing, and then they don't put it on a server so that their team can say, hey, this guy is really good at sharing this. Do you have 7 minutes to watch his napkin scribble?
Right.
That's it. Like, if they would just embrace the hard skill. So it's not a right or wrong. It's not a divide. It's only divided for small people. For evolved people, it's just, the internet is just a method of, it's just a means. It's just a means. It's a napkin multiplied. That's all it is, right?
Right.
So it's a breakdown and just embracing the hard skill instead of having an allergic reaction to it, which is normal. I mean, I have headaches around the computer. Like, I'm the least, my friends that grew up with me still laugh that I've made any money online because I'll go to Apple, to the Genius Bar with a phone problem or something, and Apple guys are like, you know what, I've never seen a phone do this. Like, or I'll take my computer. This has happened 2 different times where the Genius Bar guys are stumped. They're like, I don't know. Like, this thing's just not going to work. I don't know what to do. And I just have a technophobic curse. So, I've had to just overcome it because I saw the possibilities. I saw the napkin. I saw the napkin doing the presentation while I'm on the golf course. That's what I saw. So, today I've been, my videos and stuff have been viewed over 1 million hours. That's a lot of hours. But next week I'll be in Colorado mountain biking the entire week until Thursday, which I'll then fly to Virginia to golf at my buddy's bachelor party and go to his wedding. So I'm not really doing anything next week, but my videos are working, my sales presentations are working, and the leverage from, pass-up continuity money is working too. So I saw that, and that enticed me. So network marketing has the enticement of residual or continuity income, we'll call it. And then the internet, you can multiply that by an X factor through just the virality of how the internet moves. So it's almost like choosing to not learn a language that is very powerful. But again, there's guys that earn more than me that don't do anything online. They don't have a Facebook page. They don't need one. It doesn't matter. So there's a million ways to play this game. And you want to find one that works for you and your lifestyle. If I was out prospecting all day at coffee shops and home meetings, I would I just couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. My body wouldn't let me. My mind wouldn't let me. I'd go crazy. Now, there's other people that actually, they love that. They're extroverted. They're really into that. Online marketers tend to be more introverted. They tend to be more excited about creating something with the hard skill. They're almost like more engineering in a sense and math in a sense. And then people that are amazing at warm market, they love being around the people, having the endless conversations, being in that kind of video game environment with their phone blowing up. And, you know, and there's not right or wrong. It's pure personal custom living. So you want to that's why I rarely enter the argument of like, is it, you know, online better or worse? It's like, for me, it's me. I have a friend that makes millions and doesn't, I don't even think he could write an email. He just doesn't know what he's doing. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all.
So do you think, let me ask you this, do you think that if you, because I know that, you know, of course there's a lot of people out there that maybe get excited about network marketing and don't feel like very much in their comfort zone with, you know, with technology just in general, or they feel like maybe learning Facebook or Instagram, or particularly learning how to market or prospect on some of these different platforms would be a huge learning curve. Do you think it is worth it for them to dive in and try to learn those things? And I'm also maybe talking generationally, people that maybe their generation hasn't, you know, been on it as much. Do you think it's better that they dive in and sort of what feels a little bit more comfortable, which may be like more warm market, offline, that sort of thing, or do you think it's worth it for them to take the time to learn those hard skills that would be sort of online, or do you think it doesn't matter, you just need to learn, it's going to be a learning curve either way, you just got to figure some stuff out that works?
Yeah, I think, you know, if somebody's trying to do something that they don't quite see the vision past the doing of it, it doesn't matter what we're talking about. You know what I mean? They could go to face-to-face closing things forever, but if they don't get the power of if they don't get the power of one individual in a comp plan, they're not going to go through the metrics. They're not going to go through the no's. They're not going to go through crafting their presentation, because really, ultimately, a six-figure earner, you know, you just have 3 to 4 decent teammates, and you've got a six-figure income. Now you have to 7 figures, you have 10 to 15 decent people. It's not even that, like, you don't even need rock stars. You just need hungry people that are actually going through the numbers. So my breakthrough was I look at the comp plan, and I'm not really in network marketing oddly enough, I'm doing an interview in a network marketing book, but well, in a way it's network, whatever. Affiliate marketing, network marketing.
Yeah, most of your time these days is kind of affiliate marketing, it's affiliate marketing it's network marketing, but on 1 or 2 levels, right? It doesn't have 5, 6, 8 levels or whatever. Yeah, and I'll consult like it's just a different structure of how compensation moves when products are sold. That's all it is. But what was the question again? I'm trying to get back to the answer. What was my point? My breakthrough was I found the comp plan, and I saw what it would take for me to get the promise of the comp plan, and I realized if I had 10 people making 1 sale a week, I would come out of the year with $500,000, and I did that. I developed 10 people. Now, I had to develop more than 10. I had to attempt to develop like 30 or 40 people, but I poured the best of the best that I could at the time, and I developed more than 10 people who could make 1 sale a week, and that led me to $500,000 a year. So I looked at when I saw the promise of it all, I didn't get caught up on anything that was in the way of getting to that promise. I just realized there was numbers, there was people, it wasn't personal, it was metrics. I read some books, you know, whatever. I believed people that had done it instead of making my experience the center of the universe. Right. I took other people's experience I took other people's experience as truer than my experience. Right. I don't know if that makes sense. I just believed people. Makes total sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this, kind of on the topic of what you just mentioned. that was actually part of the reason that I was really excited to have you as part of this and do this interview with you, is because, like you said, you're mostly kind of in the more affiliate marketing world these days. You've been in network marketing and very successful in network marketing. But and again, like, I kind of see the only difference between those, like you said, it's a comp plan different. It's 1 or 2 levels versus 7 or 8 levels or whatever. But even today, you're building huge organizations, you're leading teams, it's the exact same skills, it's just a comp plan difference if people want to even differentiate between those two worlds. So I guess my question is, why have you gravitated in that direction? Like, what do you love about, what has drawn you kind of more in the affiliate direction, or, I don't know, any thoughts on network marketing compared to affiliate?
Yeah, that's a great question. I owe my birth of all my skills to network marketing. I really do. Because I was exposed to so many people so fast that I was able to, and again, this is my story. I'm not saying this is the path of everybody, but
sure.
I was on the phone for 10 hours a day on the phone. I understood that being on the phone was really powerful at that time. Okay? So I'd be on the phone selling all day long, all day, people, all day. It got to a point for me where now I didn't need a one-on-one communication to communicate to 1,000 people at the same time, because I got such a sample of humankind, I think, or at least hungry entrepreneur kind, that for me to be developing one person, that's not where my career was at. It was moving to the next place, where now, like today, for instance, I do very little like personal consulting. 1 to 2 clients a year. It's 50,000 to 100. Like, I don't really do consulting, because I don't even, consulting one person isn't my highest like value necessarily to my world. But the person that I was consulting to today, and it was a higher, multiple, very high consulting thing. Their teams are in the thousands upon thousands upon thousands, and they have another business where they're leaders over leaders that have teams of thousands upon thousands.
Right.
So when I'm consulting with them, I realize, like, what I say in that conversation is going to create the structure that affects 50,000, 60,000 people.
Right.
The only reason I got out of the more one-on-one world is because it just got to a place where I felt, and others apparently felt, that, you know what I'm saying? It's not worth me being on the phone all day closing sales.
Sure, absolutely.
Or building teams. It's not that I'm better. It's just a progression in my career. Right. It's just like in network marketing, though, it's identical. You take the people that have the biggest organizations, they're talking to the fewest people. They're talking to 3 to 5 people total. The path of power is decreasing your personal directs. And a personal direct, whether you're an administrator in a school over 5 school, if you're an athletic director over 5 schools, you might have X amount of directs. The higher you go, the less directs you have, and that affects the most people. So the best and the top guys in network marketing are often, they're only dealing with 3 or 4 top people.
Right.
So it's the same thing. It's just a model for me, and I could probably, I could have stayed in that model. And then for me, I also really I'm gravitating more towards the purity of, that's ostentatious. I shouldn't say purity. The concept of selling a product without, hey, if you buy this, you can make money, because that's really easy to add the, hey, you can make money on top of a product, and then you can move all sorts of crap. So I like selling things that have no income attached to them. They're buying them purely for the product. So for me as an information marketer, it moves me to see people buying my stuff, but they're not buying it because they have to buy it to make a qualification for something else. They're buying it because they want that product in and of itself. And so it's just a model that I just get off on a little more.
Yep.
That's all.
Yeah, I love it. Well, we don't have to take this rabbit hole, but I actually I really love what you said, about people buying the product not without there being an opportunity attached. And it's my personal opinion that actually the network marketing world needs to step a little bit more in that direction overall as well. But anyway, that's a whole nother topic that we don't have to dive down. Diving into, I want to ask you a little bit about just daily routines, practices, things that, again, that's kind of the thesis of the Miracle Morning, is how people can, by making a few actions every day at the start of the day, but though some people might have some evening rituals and some different things throughout the day as well, how dramatic of an impact that can have on people's lives. And then so I want to ask you about your morning routine, but before we do that, just a real quick question about reading is I know that you have a really cool kind of reading routine that's pretty different than what a lot of people do. I think you maybe call it ultra reading or mega reading or something along those lines. Tell us about
ultra reading.
Okay.
Well, ultra reading in a nutshell is taking, and it's a whole course on it. I bought a bunch of speed reading books and kind of just hybrided and simplified and kind of like threw some hyper steroids on the whole concept to get reading exciting. And so now we have kids, we have college kids that are meeting all over the country, taking pictures saying, hey, we're reading, and they're excited about it. They're having ultra reads. They're called ultra reads. And one kid said, ultra reading did for reading what Tiger Woods did for golf, like brings excitement to reading of all things. So it's a powerful deal, but the gist of it is take 5 books of whatever, nonfiction is the ideal. And this is like hyper condensed, but set your phone to 2 minutes and you'll go through and basically you're just flipping pages and grabbing points of interest. Maybe you're reading one paragraph word for word. Maybe you're flipping through it, just looking at diagrams, but you spend 2 minutes diving in, immersing in to 5 different books over 10 minutes, and it's like yoga for your brain. It stretches your brain in a multitude of ways, and you get a bunch of new thoughts at the start of the day. And that's critical for me. I did ultra reading this morning. I read through a handful of books. I did 2 minutes each book, and one was the top, like for a very granular example, top 100 speeches of all time. I read for 2 minutes about President Reagan's speech after the Challenger blew up in the 80s. I think it was 84. And I got insight on how he delivered and why he delivered the speech the way he did. Then I wrote a book about changing culture and different ideas about how culture has actually changed for 2 minutes. Then I read a book, T.D. Jakes, on destiny for 2 minutes, and it was about Martin Luther King's wife. And she believed it was her destiny to marry Martin Luther King. And really, my mind, it was yoga. And I started the day with all sorts of stuff. It was 10 minutes.
Yeah.
10.
Yep.
And, then you start doing it in groups, and you get in a group of 5. Everyone's got a book. You read for 2 minutes, and then 1 minute, everyone goes around and shares what they learned in 2 minutes. And it just becomes an absolute espresso for the mind kind of experience. And, and I'm really pumped. It's, we've had ultra reads of 100 people at a time. It's pretty cool stuff.
I love it. Is that a concept that you created, or was that something that you learned from somebody else, or where'd you get that?
No, I kind of created it. It was a form. You see, I was a youth pastor, and so kids, I had to learn to take what for a lot of kids is the most boring subject in the universe, the Bible, and make it really interesting. So I spent years learning how to make seemingly boring things exciting in group settings. And I'm so thankful for those years because I learned how to teach. Because when I'm teaching, like 12 and 13, 14-year-old kids, I had to learn to be interesting, genuinely interesting, because their parents forced them to come. But then pretty soon they were inviting their friends, and everything changed. So, those were formative years I basically learned how to make some things exciting and then codify the excitement into a product or into an experience and sell the experience. And that's what I've done with all my stuff, really. But I bought a bunch of reading courses, and I realized there was too much unnecessary information in it. And the other thing is I realized that people had a massive amount of guilt and boredom around reading when it's really one of the most breakthrough experiences you can have because people buy a book, they want a book, they buy a book. And then suddenly they'll hear somebody and they'll be really excited about buying another book. They're like truly in the moment. Their heart's like, they're pumped up. They want that book and they go, you know what? I haven't even finished that last book I bought.
Right.
Then they punish themselves. Then they say, I'm going to have to read that other book. Books are like meals to me. I can read them. I like pizza. I'll eat pizza many, many times. So I've been going to the same books for, 5-6 years. I understand them, but I find stuff new all the time because I'm only spending 2 to 5 minutes per book inside.
Right. I love it. So, and I'm sure that this is probably, a challenging question because obviously you are a voracious reader. But if you could say 3 to 5 books that have maybe had the biggest impact on you, diverted your life direction, anything like that, what would 3 to 5 that come to mind be?
They're all circumstantial. Like every one of them. Like if I was selling cars, I'd be reading Joe Girard's book. He's sold more cars. He's in the Guinness Book of World Records. He's the world's best car salesman. That would be the only book I'd recommend. So I recommend pretty custom books based on.
So what if I were to say if we had
break it
marketers, they were listening to this interview, what are some of the 3 to 5 books that every new network marketer should check out?
Yeah, so if you're in network marketing, Eric Worre's Go Network and Network Marketing Pro. I read Randy Gage's book of something. I don't remember what it was. I read Mark Yarnell's first year in network marketing, which is terribly outdated. Rest in peace. Mark and I became kind of friends a little bit, and it was really a blessing to get to know him privately. But that book is still on the shelves. And he even said, I don't know why it shouldn't be on the shelf, but it keeps selling because of the title.
I even skimmed through that book in the creation of this book. I skimmed through that to kind of like look for gems and everything. And even though the verbiage may be very outdated and everything, there are still lots of gems in that book. It is a really, really great book.
Yeah, big time. And so, it just depends. The 4-Hour Work Week, personally for me, that was one of the first, nuclear bombs for me because I wanted to travel. I wanted exactly what I have today. This is exactly what I wanted. I wanted businesses that made me money while I played. That was the deal. And I wanted to be creatively satisfied. I didn't know I wanted to be creatively satisfied, and I didn't know I wanted to bring any value to the world. I started totally selfish. I want to play more. I don't want to have a job, and I want to make money the most efficient way possible. So the 4-Hour Work Week is extremely powerful, was to me. And now, I've got a brand like Limitless, which is kind of somewhat never been done, kind of like luxury goods product with luxury information in a gamified setting and a code. It's a borrow of 5 different business models. But so for that, luxury marketing, how to do luxury brand marketing. Nobody reads that book. It was $50 because nobody buys it, and it's very academic, and it's for, people who read that are like Ralph Lauren's CEO. Nobody's reading that book. But it's an important book, and it absolutely changed the fabric of the direction of how I want to be perceived in the market and what I'm actually doing about it. So I have in my house, my apprentice just counted them. I have 457 books in my house right now, and that's after throwing away a lot of books that I don't want to keep. So I have 450 books that I love.
Got it.
Not counting my Kindle. And today my wife just bought 3 more books, or 2 books today that will be here in the next couple of days. So I love
this is a random question, more for my own curiosity. But do you prefer what Kindle versus I love the physicality of underlining and all that kind of stuff, but I love the note taking of Kindle and having all my notes and underlines in one spot. What do you do with that?
I like them both, and they're phases for me. Right now, I'm on Kindle Unlimited, so I do like seeing a book and just downloading it instantly and getting access to it. If I'm listening to a podcast and I hear a book, I like that I can go buy it immediately in a push button and have it on my Kindle. But I also scribble up books big time. I write notes in books. I have books all over, and they're decoratively all over. My office, people walk into my office, and all of them say, wow. Like, every single person walks in and is like, wow, this office, are you kidding? But I have books as art, and so I have invisible bookshelves and decorative. I just like physicality of books. So it goes both ways. I like them both. They both serve their purpose.
Yep, I hear you.
When I'm on a plane, I rarely travel with more than one hard book and my Kindle. So when I'm traveling, I tend to use Kindle only.
Got it. All right, so let me.
And then really quick that, this last thing. The reason I got the Kindle is my wife and I were in Hawaii, and when we're in Hawaii, all we do is eat, romance, and read, and like hike and swim and all that stuff. And so we went to Barnes and Nobles, and I bought 11 books in Barnes and Noble while Hawaii, because it was kind of like a reading sabbatical to me in a sense, and I hadn't had a Kindle yet. So I was lugging back 11, and these aren't little, greatest salesman in the world, 50-page books. These are books that are $25, hardcover, thick, like How Google Works, that just got released. Beautiful book.
Right.
Heavy. And I'm like, this is insane to carry these books around. So then the Kindle was like the biggest thing in the world to me, because I realized I could have 1,000 books in my backpack.
Yep, I love it. Okay, so just switching gears, last couple questions for you, because I know, like you said, you're trying to cram 2 weeks of work into 3 days here before you head off mountain biking. Routines. Talk to me about how you look at your morning. If you have a morning routine that is set every day, like what is it? Or if it's not set, kind of how do you look at your mornings? And then any other, daily rituals that are really, really important to you that you think have a big impact on who you are today, where you're going, anything like that.
Yeah. So I could really dork out on this subject. I have a whole series on morning momentum and how to get into it, why to get into it. So just cut me off if I start going overboard
dork
here.
Out all you want. It's our subject. So
mornings are, for me, mornings are everything. So there's a couple core things that are like every morning, no matter what. My wife and I, we qualified for welfare for 5 straight years. We were married and qualified for welfare. We never took it, but we qualified immediately. We were broke as can be. We had a kid 9 months later. We were broke then. And literally, we were broke at a level of like, how do we pay for today? It wasn't like, hey, should we go to Hawaii or not? It was like, how do we pay for the day? How do we get through the week? I get paid on Thursday. That money goes in, and it was gone Friday. It was gone, over, history, the whole thing. And then we lived on about $100 give or take by the time the budget was, by the time the bill, these are like the auto bills, just automatic bills. I had about $125 on a maxed out credit card that we would pay down $125 on that so we could fill it up, and we would literally inch it out, max it out to the point where that moment before my paycheck, that's when we could pay it, and it all timed out. I lived that way for 5 straight years. So money was a opening morning conversation, kind of like, hey, make sure, like I would wake up and tell Shani, like, make sure you buy the smallest amount of milk because we can't afford the bigger milk. Like we couldn't even afford water. Where we were at, we got a letter and we had an infant, and it said it's not the tap water in this place. It was in Maryland trailer home. It's unsuitable. It's recommended children don't drink it, and adults. It's not really recommended adults drink it. There's an official government letter, right? So we would buy Culligan water, and I would go to bed thirsty because my wife was using that water to supply her body to be able to nourish our kids' milk. So I don't know, like, how I want to press in how broke we were. And it wasn't broke like, oh, I don't have much money. It was broke like, I'm a grown man going to bed thirsty in America. And this wasn't like ancient history. This is 37. This is a decade ago. Yeah. So this isn't ancient history. But, even thinking about it, I could cry right now. But that's where we were at. And So money was just fear and money and concern were woven into the morning. It was woven in. And now my wife and I, and I'm not kidding, we'll go a month and there will not be a solitary single conversation about money. And it's not because we're so rich that we're beyond money. The more money you make, the more you get to talk about money because there's more options with it. There's more. I mean, the money conversation never goes away regardless of the amounts or anything. In fact, it could probably increase. But we secluded money only to a business meeting conversation. The only time we talk about anything, business, money related, we have an official meeting. It's 11 o'clock on a Tuesday. And we talk about, whether it's new life insurance stuff, whether it's new investments, whether it's the CPA has some questions for me, wants to answer. So there's no open, every ounce of our life, particularly in the mornings, that's where we started with it. I basically proposed to my wife. I said, you know what? Let's completely not allow any money conversations to enter the morning at all in any way. Nothing. It's just like prime ourselves for the day.
Right.
And then what happened is we'd talk about money like after whatever, like breakfast or something. But then we fell in love with this whole like protecting the morning time. And then it expanded to, with money, then it became like once a month. And so we have a once a month conversation on money, if that. So it's nowhere in the conversation. Nowhere.
Right.
Nowhere. It doesn't exist. That's called amazing. And it's not because we're so rich. It's because we decided to quarantine that subject to its own time. So we have no like open shooting, like, oh man, money's a little tight or something. We just don't go there. Right. And so the mornings we fell in love with that money issue, but then we quarantined any aches and pains in our body, right? So you wake up and it's like, oh, I got a little bit of headache, or oh, I'm a little hungover, or oh, my back. Anything at all negative. And it's Pollyanna to say you live in a negativity-free universe, but it's not Pollyanna to say until 11 o'clock there is nothing at all but positive, big thinking, visionary conversation. It doesn't exist in the house unless it's, so we quarantined anything body ache, completely regulated it away from the morning. Then we regulated any let's say an in-law or a relative or somebody's getting a divorce or something bad happened or whatever. It's not an early morning conversation. We don't prime anything negative in the morning. It's absolutely off limits in every way. And really, if people listen to that and just push it, experiment with it, push it away, and quarantine the morning for energy, vitality, nutrition, big thinking, you're going to be a rock star. Another thing I used to do is I used to really enjoy opening, because I get the credit card settlements from the night before in the morning. So I like to wake up and see I made like $3,000. It feels good, right? But I realized that was too dictational, and it had it didn't run my day, but it had a feeling like if it was a bigger pop, I was like, wow, okay, this day is hot. But if it was a little lower, I just noticed it notched me down a second. So it really so I completely went away from even checking what I made while I was sleeping. Okay. I just quit doing that. And the mornings for us, like we'll wake up, Shannon and I will do some kind of romantic activity, holding each other, making out, doing conjugal married things. That's habitualized. That's part of the deal. That's part of the body rhythms. That's part of the expectations. And we like that. So we wake up in pleasure. We sleep in clean sheets. We have maids coming. Like there's a lot of connected things. You can't just say, okay, morning, I'm going to make morning awesome. If your room's a mess, you wake up morning and you're in a state of stress based on the disorder of your room, period. So our room looks like something out of a magazine. It's almost perfect almost all the time, but it's not neurotic. It's just systematized. We go to bed and everythings good. When we go into bed, at night, we make our bed every night, and we make our bed nice. Next to our on our bed stands are crystals, fresh flowers, not used flowers, plants, mementos. There's not like pain prescription pills and wrappers and mess and chaos and mounds of laundry and all this crap. Like, we wake up at a very deliberate, I mean, my goal is paradise. I don't live in it, but I literally, on heaven as it is in earth, or on earth as it is in heaven, I should say. And I take that literally. Like, when we pray, we're like, on earth as it is in heaven, in this room. Communication, love, honesty, forgiveness, mercy, power, light, beauty, flowers. Like, we go for it, okay? So it took us years to get there, but that's the morning. And then drink a big glass of water. Usually the words are affirming, the words are positive. Shannon might literally kiss my entire body from the start of my head down to my, literally to my feet and back, and hold me for a minute and just say, you're going to get this day. Right? Now, that sounds like a fantasy. It's not a fantasy, and any couple can play with this and do these kind of things. So, and this isn't every morning, but these are the kind of things that we've intended and that have been created. So from that, I go down and I will have a fresh, organic, cold-pressed juice that's within probably 48 to 72 hours old that my assistant picks up fresh every 3 days, and we get about 70 to 80 ounces of juice. So I start with that and some vitamin C. And then meals are delivered straight to our door. So they're made the night before, and then I go out and I get them, and they're all, deliberately they're just healthy and they're delicious. So I might have steak fajitas in the morning. I like supper in the morning because it gives me some sustenance. So I've played with optimizing every bit of my day for years, and these are what I found. I do better throughout the day if I have the biggest meal in the morning, and I like the textures of heavier food in the morning because it just sets the day, and then I can work out. But I work out by 11, fully drenched sweat, 30 minutes of cardio on rowing, running.
Oh, just one quick question that just popped in my head. Do you wake up to an alarm clock or not?
No, that's torture. I wouldn't do it. But I wake up, but no, I have 4 kids. And so they get up early, and they have their own routines. And my Gracie girl, she's 10, and she prepares the kids breakfast, and she loves it. And then the kids come in and give us hugs and kisses. So that's how we wake up. And it's a precious. I realize that's not going to last forever. And then sometimes we have like a tongue drum, which is kind of an African box drum, and it's beautiful. You can't make a bad hit on it, so it's very melodic. And then we have bells, like kind of like a harp kind of bell situation. And I tell the kids, hey, I'll tell you what I love. Come into the room playing that, and then give us a hug and a kiss. So, I mean, mornings, we got magical mornings, and they're deliberate. They're on purpose. They're defended. They're defended to be like they are.
Yeah.
Right? So
I really love that. Sorry, I interrupted you. You're talking about working out, but it just popped in my head. But yeah, I love the intentionality of everything that you're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, but again, everything for me has been optimizing everything. So I don't believe in carrying any sleep debt. Sleep debt is an absolute crusher to creativity. It's a crusher to your health. It's a crusher to your looks. It's crushing. Being tired is worse than being completely doped up. I mean, like they've done studies, being tired is worse than being drunk driving. Yeah. Tired is deadly. So I don't really believe in being tired. I'm just not into it. So I sleep through all the way till I'm ready to wake up. And when I don't, a lot of times that affects me. So sometimes I'll just roll out of bed, grab a coffee. It might be a yerba mate. It might be I have a bunch of resources for morning. I don't do coffee every day because it loses its effectiveness. But if I do coffee once or twice a week, it really has a hit. Same with yerba mate. Same with black tea. Same with green tea. Same with white tea. So I deliberately, from a stimulation standpoint, I rarely do anything every day because there's so many varieties, nootropics and all sorts of things where to keep your brain fresh and pulled, the efficacy of any product goes down with constant use from a stimulant standpoint. So, and I like all of them. So, I'll do some variation of something, get going. And then we'll take the kids to school, and then Shannon doesn't work, so then we come home and we have breakfast. We ultra read, whatever. I usually don't look at any email I don't look at any customer service. I don't respond to any phone calls at all. I don't care who's calling me. It just doesn't matter. I don't touch anything till 11 o'clock usually, because for me, 11 o'clock, I'm fully I'm in it. I might go longboarding for 30 minutes outside with my wireless Beats, listening to Dave Matthews or whatever, and just kind of surfing around, having fun. So I like to have fun every morning. I'll play the guitar. I'll play the drums. I mean, I could tell you a lot, but it's very non-work. I don't give a shit at all about diving. I used to have a need to dive into my customer service, dive into campaigns, dive into this. And then I listened to one of my heroes, Dan Kennedy, in a book he wrote about, someday when he retires, he's going to have slow mornings. And that word, slow mornings, retirement, I thought, oh, wow, I want a slow morning. Yeah. That's what I want. Yeah. And so I've built in a retirement morning, literally, where my grandpa, we spend the summers in North Dakota, we spend the winters in Arizona, but I'll go have coffee with my grandpa in the morning, slowly. And then I might be an animal for the next 6-7 hours, but you got to get close to what you want, and this is what I wanted. So
I love it, man.
I could keep talking, Pat, but
I know, but no, I love it. Like I said, I love the intentionality, and for me, I would also put 4 Hour Workweek as one of my top few books that really smacked me over the head and sent me in a very, very different direction, and that I had tried to apply. And so I love it kind of just the emphasis on really, literally, truly designing your life. And so anyway, I love hearing kind of your take on that, and obviously something that you've been working on for a long time and are very intentional about. So it's awesome.
And another thing, Pat, that I do that I would just be ripping off the truth if I didn't, disclose this in my mornings, is the Book of Proverbs. So I have my Solomon CEO brand and all that jazz. But I built my entire business on visualizing the manifestation of every proverb in that book manifesting in my life, and I did it today again. And I vividly imagine every single verse manifesting for me, every single one. And it's powerful. It's like a little movie that I start at the start of the day where I'm just winning. I'm winning in my mind. I'm winning. I'm overcoming things. I'm not fainting. I'm strong. I'm a leader. Like today, one of the things it was saying 4 things that are amazing. One of them is when a king whose troops are with him. And I imagine that manifesting where I'm a leader of thousands of people, and they're with me, and it's a mesmerizing thing to watch unfold.
Yeah.
What we can do together, what we can do as a crew, what we can do as a team, and I feel the loyalty, I feel the service, I feel the contribution, I feel the impact, and I go into those places. So when these things happen and they manifest the way that they do, it becomes very surreal. It becomes surreal, and almost daily there's a surreal thought or two that comes to me. Yeah. So, and literally, here's a case in point. Literally, I was just visualizing on that verse, and I've done it, almost once a month. I meditate on 1 chapter per day. And Shani was just telling me one of the guys that's running with me, and he's on staff with me and stuff. They went out to supper, and he said to Shani, he said, I want to run with Mark till the day I die. He said, I've seen what other people experience with other leaders and this and that, and we've been working together for 2 years now. And he said, I see what we're doing, I feel it, I see the stories, and that's what he said. I want to run with them till the day I die. So, but I saw all that. I visualized that in the mornings when everyone else is checking their email. I'm visualizing. So it's powerful stuff, and I'm maybe got a little ooey gooey weird here, but that's okay.
No, actually, that was actually going to be, I had just 2 last questions, and one of them was going to be sort of meditation, any meditation technique that you prescribe to, or visualization, exactly like what you just mentioned. The other thing I was just going to ask was journaling, if that's a big piece for you or not, and if it is, is there sort of an intentional, how do you approach journaling if you do? It may not.
Yeah. I can't prove this, and I'd love the metrics because Barnes and Noble's and I use the same supplier. I want to say, it's totally, I can't prove it at all. I want to say I move as many journals as Barnes and Noble into the world because I work with the same supplier. We're a mega affiliate for this particular brand, and it's an amazing journal. And if there's a lot of products that I include the brand with custom journal through this, and so journaling is huge. It's for me. I have dozens of journals filled up. I can pull out. We just had an event at my house. It was months ago, but I pulled out journals and showed them exactly what I wrote about doing and exactly that it was done, and over, case by case by case, with things that don't even make sense. Like Eben Pagan, for those in the network marketing world, he's like the godfather. He's like he sits on the elder throne of the internet marketing. And I wrote in my journal, I allow myself to become fraternal colleagues with Eben Pagan. And Eben and I are friends today. And I've told Eben, I'm like, Eben, this is gnarly, but he interviewed me for entrepreneurial parenting. And I wrote that down when that was not going to happen. Okay. Right. So I write a lot of things, and usually the mantra is I allow myself to. So I don't set a goal like I have to do this. It's I allow myself to create this. I allow myself to experience this. I allow myself to attract this. That just feels easy for me. And then I fill it with to-do lists. I fill it with, my journal is it's part diary, part quote book, part note-taking, part, scribbles. I draw a lot of my thoughts out. So we have all the journals dating back from the very start. I probably have 15 filled journals. But, Leonardo da Vinci, I think, don't quote me, but I think he had 50 or so huge journals. He carried them everywhere he went, observing nature, observing comments, observing literature. He never went anywhere without a journal. And Leonardo's a big inspiration to me. Bill Gates bought just a few pages of his journal for like $30 million. But what I teach in the journal world is I say, what are your journals possibly going to be worth? If not in the marketplace to your kids or to your grandkids. Right. What are they worth? So it's a legacy piece for me. So yeah.
Yep, I love it. Well, Mark, I've taken more time than I promised you that I would take by now. So I really appreciate it. I'm really excited to have you as part of this. I'm really excited for everybody to get access to this interview here. Anyway, I guess last couple things is if there's any last comments that you might have for anybody that's tuning into this that might be getting started as a network marketer, or just the other thing would be just where people can find out more about you, where they can find you online, anything like that.
I'm toying with the podcast. It's been on new and noteworthy for iTunes as long as it could be. It's gone a little bit viral. I think I'm going to stay with it. So minutewithmark.com, that's got probably the best free info we've got, and it's iPhone or Android or whatever. So minutewithmark.com is where you can listen to some more stuff like this, including I'll probably reposition this in that as well. And then I wanted to say thanks, Pat. You're a handful of people know you, and I've been able to spend some time with you, and you're a genuine, real soul. You're a good man, and I can feel it, and I'm just honored to be invited into this project, so thank you.
Hey, man, thanks for being part of it. Really appreciate it. And for everybody that's tuning in, again, you can, depending on where you're hearing this, you might be hearing it on our website. You can check out the book, The Miracle Morning for Network Marketers, for lots of other interviews with other sort of one percenters, top performers in the network marketing space. And if you aren't hearing this on the website, if you're hearing this on our podcast, you can go check out our website, which you will hear in the outro of this interview because we don't know the domain yet as I'm recording this. So, all right, man. Thanks again, Mark. Really appreciate it. And thank you, everybody that is tuning in. See you on the next recording.
Thank you.
Hey, this is Pat Petrini again, and just to wrap up really quickly, I just want to remind you that if you liked this interview, we've got a whole bunch more. If you go to our website, it's tmm4networkmarketers.com. That's TMM, like the Miracle Morning, for FOR, networkmarketers.com. And of course, if you haven't checked out the book yet, you can go to, first off, you get 2 free chapters of the book at tmm4networkmarketers.com. And then, of course, if you want to get the book, go to Amazon and just search for The Miracle Morning for networkmarketers.com, and you can get it paperback, Kindle, whatever. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you really enjoy the rest of the content that we've made available for you. Thanks a lot. Again, my name is Pat Petrini, and I'll see you on the next interview.